In honor of today's movie, occasionally throughout this review, I'll be splicing in footage from a completely separate review and claiming it's all supposed to be there. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is probably the only film we're going to review this month where the spoiler section of the review won't have anything to do with the actual plot of the film itself. Hey, so we're talking about Spookies today. Oh man, Spookies. For anybody who's unaware, this is Thorgiween. We're watching a horror film every single day this month. And this is Schlocktober week, where we're watching... Hey, buddy. Oh, that's the dog. Everybody. Yep, there she goes.
Okay, there we go.
There you go. But this is Schlocktober week, in which every single film we're watching this week qualifies as schlock. And if you're wondering what our definition of schlock is, we talked about it in our Chopping Mall video. But real quick, just run down. Lower budget. Doesn't have to be super low, but can't be high. They have to be trying to make something bigger than what their budget allowed them for. And there has to be some passion behind it. There has to be a sense of humor to it, but that sense of humor does not have to be intentional. And as you will see in this video, that kind of qualifies. And lastly, it has to be intending to shock the audience and not like, oh, that was a terrible, horrible thing that happened on screen. It has to be like a, what the fuck kind of moment. And I think this one barely qualifies for that, but it just like, there's just enough moments in here that I'm like, oh no, that, definitely, yep. So we'll get into all that. So yeah, I definitely...
Although most of the shock comes from the editing of this movie.
Oh boy, okay, so I'm gonna let y'all know right now. This movie, that's gotta be the thumbnail. This movie, you might never have heard of it, but for people who aren't really into horror films, but they're into the making of horror films, this film is legendary. But this is the first time that I've ever seen it. You did not know the story about the making of this film.
Nope.
I did. So we had two very different experiences watching this movie for the very first time. So it's going to be interesting to review this. And let the helicopter outside pass. There we go. I don't even know if you guys can pick that up. I was like, I can only keep talking for so long to try and hide that. All right. So... yeah, let's get into what this film is. It opens up with this old, like, wizard-like guy, say, like a crypt keeper style
Yeah, basically.
sitting in this, like, a crypt, essentially. He is in some underground basement of this cemetery, and he's got this Catman servant with him. But then we have this little boy who is out there in the cemetery. His parents forgot his birthday, so he's now just here at this cemetery.
Yeah, he ran away because his parents forgot his birthday.
But he keeps talking about this cemetery like he's supposed to, like he was going to meet someone there or something. Like he's at this cemetery, but he keeps talking about like we should know why he's at the cemetery.
Yeah, he says, oh, I've got big plans. And it's like,
yeah,
would you care to elaborate?
By the way, he says that to some like 30-year-old dude who asked him for a light, who just happens to also be in the cemetery.
And the kid also just happens to have a light on him.
Yeah,
like,
it was the 80s.
It was the 80s.
Kids could smoke. So, the guy who is not connected to him at all, and you're clearly meant to look at this and be like, oh, stranger danger. But it's like, no, it turns out this guy is just totally fine and not there to, like, be the bad guy.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever shows up again.
No, because the cat guy then immediately appears and kills him.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
As the little boy is standing 3 feet away from him, walking away, and doesn't notice this. But then the kid goes into the big house at the cemetery, and there's birthday balloons and presents and cake everywhere. And he's like, wow, you guys did remember. Your surprise party for me. Like, why are you at this cemetery? Why would your family know you went here? Why would, if you went to this random cemetery and found presents, would you assume they were all for you?
Those were his big plans.
I guess. Like, there's clearly like, man, this kid must have known something that we did. But the kid then gets attacked by the Catman, gets slashed up, because the Catman also has a hook on his hand. Because I guess if you're a Catman, your natural cat claws aren't enough. So they gave him a hook on his hand, and he slashes him up, tosses him into a grave, buries him alive.
Maybe he was declawed.
Maybe, yeah. The wizard Creon did not like him scratching up his furniture. So, then it cuts to a group of random people of varying ages.
Yeah. Like, honestly, you would think that they weren't even, like, friends. Like you'd think like the adults would be like the parents of like the teenagers.
Most of them appear to be around a certain age, like early 20s. But then there's one dude who's clearly like late 40s in there. And the weird thing is, you would expect, if you immediately saw that, you'd expect him to be like the party pooper, the bad guy of the group.
Right.
Like, no, he turns out to be the good one in here as the film goes along. But he is apparently, like, this is never stated, but it's the only assumption you can jump to. It appears that he is dating one of the people in this group, which I will just say, this group feels like the B Squad rejects of the Night of the Living Dead punks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just a group of such random individuals who are supposed to be friends with each other, and each of them are supposed to be some kind of personality. Like, there's supposed to be something to each of them, but we never really get that deep with a lot of them, and there's a reason for that we'll get to later.
And also, they don't really, like, connect with each other that much.
No!
Like,
you get the sense they all hate each other.
Yeah, I mean, literally, when they show up, they're in two different cars. Like, the older adults are, like, in the second car, and they're like, oh, I can't believe, like, so-and-so, we got kicked out of the party because of so-and-so. Does he even know the way back? And then you cut to the first car, which is, like, all the teenage punks and everything. And it's like, you think that they were not friends. You would think they'd be, like, total rivals or, like, opposites.
Yeah.
Like, the parents telling the children what not to do and everything. And they're like, screw you.
We're saying that the younger people were all in the front car. The front car also had one guy with a big, thick mustache who's supposed to be the comedic relief of the film. And he's just cracking the worst jokes throughout this entire thing.
With a puppet.
And he's got, if his natural jokes were not bad enough. And again, it's not even like, you can tell the film thought he was hilarious. Like, you have that feeling of, this is some guy we know and he's hilarious. We gotta put him in the movie and have him do his fun puppet thing. Because he just, like, at one point just pulls out a puppet, and every now and again throughout the film, he just, like, will be talking with the puppet. And it's supposed to be hilarious, and it's like, oh my God, who thought any of this was funny? Like, none of his jokes land. His delivery is not good. I apologize to the individual. Sadly, he passed away, like, many years ago. But yeah, all his jokes are just so bad here. The filmmakers were like, this guy's gonna be our big funny breakout guy. And the crazy thing is, we notice this as the film goes on. He's got a jacket on, but underneath the jacket, there's a t-shirt with a photo on there. And I kept trying to make out what it was. I thought it was a musician. But then I realized, oh my God, that's himself.
Yes.
And
with the puppet.
That's why I was like, I don't think it's him, because the guy in the photo has longer hair than he does, but he has a similar mustache. But then, like, the jacket moved a little bit. We saw the puppet is right here. And it was like, oh my God, this dude is walking around with his own merch on, but his hair is longer in it, which makes me think this guy had to have been like a stand-up comic, like a local stand-up comedian. And this was like his own merch. So that's why he had longer hair in it. It was merch taken like years back or something. It's like, oh my God, this implies so many things. But so they're at this party, and then they find a decaying body in the closet. After, I should point out, the main guy, well, not even the main guy, there's no main guys. There's no main people in this movie.
And, like, they didn't even go to a party. They just crashed at the abandoned mansion that the kid ran away from because he found, like, a living head in one of the birthday gifts.
Yeah, and Creon is trying to make it sound like this was all according to plan, because Creon is trying to resurrect his dead wife who died decades ago, and and the way to do it, he has to use some kind of, like, soul sacrifices or something. And he's got, this is one bit that I do kind of like. There's a moment a little bit later on in which someone becomes possessed, and Creon's got a chessboard, and there's a moment in which he picks up a white pawn piece, closes his hand, then opens it, and it's black, and then she's possessed. I'm like, all right, you know what? I gotta give you credit on that. That's not bad. I'll give you some points on that. But Creon makes it sound like he needed these people to come here, like, almost like he planned for them to come here.
Did he also plan for the boy to come and then run away?
I mean, he had presents prepared, so yeah. Guess he had to have been. These punks arrive there, and they find... God, what was the main guy's name? Was it Billy? Was it... I'm looking at the list of just random names over there. Duke? Was it one of them? This is the thing. You're not going to know anybody's name. And to prove that, one of the first kills in here is one of the party members who he runs out of the house after stuff starts going down. And he runs into the cemetery, and then all of a sudden he falls in front of a tombstone, and the tombstone suddenly like lights up, and his name appears in there. This guy's name has never been said, so it doesn't matter what name appears on there. We, the audience, do not know that's him. We can make the assumption, but it's an assumption. Yeah, that is how quickly it is going past these people. Like, there are people in here that I'm just like, I'm sorry, I forgot. You were in this?
It's like, there's the comedian, there's the guy who seems too old to be in this group.
The guy he's dating. There's the British lady.
The British lady.
Who is just a piece of shit, just an asshole.
Then there's the woman who got possessed.
The one who got possessed.
And then there's like
There's also the boyfriend of the British lady, who is just like a weenie.
The weeniest of weenies.
Yes, exactly. He reminded me of what's his face from Rick and Morty, the dad on there. Like, he's that level of weenie. But then there is
like the protagonist?
Yeah, question mark?
Like he's definitely a punk and an asshole, but I don't
know his name. I'm apologizing. I'm looking at the list of names over there.
I just know him as like the guy in the garbage bag with zippers on it. Like,
yes, I kept saying this guy looks like the nega version of Eddie Murphy from that stand-up special he did in the 80s where he was wearing the big leather outfit. Like, this guy is wearing a big leather outfit, but it's completely black. Yeah, like, this guy is, like, just the negative version of that.
Like, it doesn't even look like it's leather. It looks like it's, like I said, made from, like, garbage bags.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's the super cheap version of that coat that you would get at, like, a dollar store or some shit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. And also, like, it's like a perm pompadour is what he has, too.
Like the very stereotypical punk kid.
Yeah. But they're the party, and this guy is the biggest asshole to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And there comes a moment when he finds a locked door, and he's trying to get into it because he's just suddenly becomes possessed with getting there. And it then it cuts to him, like, just breaking a chair on the door. This guy is just going all out because he needs to get inside this door. He opens it up, a corpse falls out of there, and the corpse is holding on to something. They open it up, it's a big Ouija board, but it's not a typical looking one. It's kind of an interesting design.
Yeah, it's like basically like it's like all the numbers and letters are in like a circle, and you like put the dial in the middle. I forget what the actual name of it.
Yeah, but the dial is like got spikes and a skull on it.
Yeah, honestly, it looked like a horned beetle almost.
Kinda, yeah, I can see that. But there's also got like monsters all around the corner of this thing. So they start asking it questions, and then it keeps going back to Creon, who's giving the answers. Which I will say, knowing the history of this film, I was like, all right, if you had to fit this in there, that's probably the most impressive example of fitting this in there.
Oh yeah, there was like another character, like basically the goth lady, like she was like the one who was like, this game, this is no game. It's a seance. It summons the dead, or like...
Isn't she the one that gets possessed?
Was she?
Maybe? We don't know. We do not know.
It could be the one who got possessed, but I could have sworn it was a different person, but maybe, I don't know.
Cannot stress enough.
Whatever.
We do not know how many characters are in this movie.
Not that any of them are important.
And the editing is so shit. Like, I'm not even talking about cutting between scenes. I'm talking about just cutting between moments in the same shot. Like, there's a moment in which they get the Ouija board, and it's in a box, and they're examining the box, and then the next cut is to the box half open from like a similar angle too, so it looks like the film just jumped.
Yeah, like a jump cut.
Yeah, exactly. So, they start asking questions, and they're asking like, how old am I? And then like you cut to Creon, 24, and the dial goes to 24. It's like, that's amazing. I never told you that. That's my horrible British accent. And then she goes, well, ask it how long I'm going to live. And then it comes to Creon, 24. And then it goes to that. And she's like, that's not funny. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'll give you some credit. Like, the original version of this script probably had some decent little setups and stuff in there. So, man, you guys, if you don't know the story of this, you're probably wondering what I'm alluding to. But again, we'll get to that eventually. So after this, one of the ladies becomes possessed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they try to escape. And the one guy, who I don't even know if he's had a line in this film, runs into the cemetery, falls down, tombstone comes up, has his name out, and they just get sucked up by the earth. Then it cuts to the British lady and the weenie, and they're running in front of the house, and they're going, oh, oh, oh. I later found out there were supposed to be ghosts in that scene that they did not have time to put in there.
So they were literally reacting to nothing.
Yes, they were supposed to be, like, I just thought, like, oh, okay, they're just freaking out, they don't know where to go. No, they were supposed to be reacting to actual ghosts flying around the screen. Didn't have time to put it in the movie. So, they run back inside, there are zombies that start appearing, and this is the thing that, man, I mentioned this. I said one of the rules of schlock is low budget, but it is reaching beyond its budget. It's trying further than that. The makeup in here is what checks that box off. Mm-hmm. As bad as this movie is, oh my god, the monsters are so good.
Yes.
Whoever did the effects on here, which I found out, oh god, I was looking up like a behind the scenes thing on this. It's not Greg Nicotero, but it's like one of the big special effects guys out there. This was like his first job when he was 15 years old.
Like the only other effects guy I can think of is like Rick Baker, but I don't.
It's not him. No, definitely not that.
No,
but no, it's like it is. He's not one of the biggest, but he is like if you know your horror movie makeup guys, it's like no, oh that guy. Oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, it's. I found out when I found that out, I was like, oh my god, how old was he? 15. Holy cow. So, yeah, and he wasn't even the original makeup guy. The original makeup guy was so bad, they had to fire him. So they brought this guy on.
A 15-year-old can do better than you.
And turns out he did. It's like, holy shit. Yeah, I wish I could remember the guy's name. But, so yeah, like the zombies are like, their faces are just like falling apart. Like, it's pretty good. And like the lady who becomes possessed, that's pretty good makeup too. Like, she goes full Deadite, but it's like, all right, yeah, good enough. And from this point on, it is everybody like splitting up to go around this house to try and find
a way out.
Yeah. And everybody just runs into different monsters, and that's what this film becomes. It's a big monster mash film. It is everybody going and just interacting with a different monster in there. And again, the special effects kind of save this. But then every now and again, we got to cut back to Creon, and he's resurrecting his wife. And then the wife comes back, and is like, no, I wanted to die. It's like, well, you need to see your son. My son, what happened to him? And now the son is like this little tiny, like, Jabba-looking guy, and like the little, like, brown hood. And he got, like, the worst green makeup on.
Honestly, when I first saw the kid, I thought he was related to the cat man.
Yeah, right?
Because, like, they both, like, act very similar. And, like, the green paint looks a lot like the brown mask.
I thought the exact same thing. I was thinking the same thing. Gotta be connected.
Also, like, the little kid was in the mansion when the boy came in. And I was wondering, like, did the little
boy set up the presents and whatnot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they know. Again, stay tuned for the end of this video. It's not even the end. We're going to get to the end of this plot summation quick.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even know if there's like any spoilers.
Not really, no. Yeah, they go through and they're just... they keep running into different monsters. Like the punk and his girlfriend go down to the cellar and they run into these dirt monsters, except the dirt monsters are farting nonstop. Mm-hmm. And that's not me making a joke. No. It is like the most obvious fart sound effects you've ever heard. So it doesn't look like they're dirt monsters. It looks like they're shit monsters. It looks like they're monsters made of poop. But they were obviously meant to be dirt when you know the original version of this movie. But so there's that. There's the British lady gets attacked by little gremlins.
Yeah.
Who kills the weenie guy. But then she's going down a hallway and she runs into some creature that looks like it came out of like, I don't know, it comes out like a Cronenberg film. Like his body's like half mechanical and shit. And I keep saying like, okay, films got also be willing to shock the audience and make them freak out. This monster kills her and her face goes stop motion as it melts and concaves into itself. Like, oh my god. Yeah, they're clearly trying to shock the audience on this one.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably where a lot of the money went into, like the makeup and the stop motion, because like that shit
ain't cheap. But I mean, it's still like you can tell it still wasn't like high quality, but they were doing the best with what they had. Mm-hmm. The jokey guy ends up running into some spider woman with a nasty transformation sequence.
Yeah, you do not like spiders.
I'm not a big fan of spiders.
I can only imagine how creeped out, how grossed out you were.
It is not, like, this ain't even like a normal spider. It is a humanoid flesh stretched apart into like a spider body thing. He's like, oh no. Yeah, didn't like that. And my personal favorite monster in here is the Grim Reaper that shows up in here, who comes straight out of Castlevania. This thing's design is awesome. This thing needs to be, like, it looks like they're being attacked in here by a Spirit Halloween store, which is ironic since there is an actual Spirit Halloween horror film. But no, it looks like just somebody went, all right, just go to Spirit Halloween, buy everything, and figure out how to make it come to life.
Right.
And I say that as a compliment.
Yes.
So the film goes on, and then eventually they come back to what's-her-face, the possessed girl. Why did I say what's-her-face like I was going to remember the name?
It's Carol.
Thank you. They go back to the possessed girl, get back to her, and now there's only 3 people left, including the old guy, which, by the way, the old guy and the punk get into a knockdown, drag-out fight that goes on for so long in here, and yet it's one of the most entertaining parts of the film. Like, it's actually genuinely entertaining watching the two of them just beat the crap out of each other, because they're going in on. Like, there's a moment in which the punk guy swings a chair down to try and take the guy out, and he rolls out, plays him just in time. I'm like, God damn, you almost killed your stunt guy on that one. And yeah, for an old guy, like, he does some stuff. Like, there's a moment in which, like, something, like, when the Grim Reaper comes to life, they're locked inside of a room, which, by the way, I will say, every time someone gets locked inside of a room or the door closes on them, it then shows the Catman running in to either close the door or holding the door shut, so that way they can't get out. I want you all to remember I said that for when we get to this later. But there's a moment when the Grim Reaper starts attacking them, and the old guy, who, again, I gotta point out, the dude is like mid-40s at the earliest, runs and leaps through the door and breaks it apart, which obviously it's a stuntman doing it, but still, like, holy shit. Yeah, like, again, you're not expecting any of this to happen in here. But then they eventually, oh, man, I gotta point this out too. They get attacked by the Grim Reaper, they get let out onto the roof, and they're being followed by the Grim Reaper, and then the old guy starts tussling with the Grim Reaper, and then just throws him off the side of the building, and the Grim Reaper explodes. I want you all to just think about the fact that I just said the sentence, the Grim Reaper explodes. And, like, you can see the shit flying, like, you can see the actual thing that they had to blow up for this, just the pieces of it flying everywhere. Oh my God, it is so just, like, I don't even want to use the term, like, guerrilla filmmaking, but it's kind of that where it's like, man, we don't have a lot to use, figure out what we can do to make this happen. But this thing ends with them running into the possessed girl again, and she starts using the Ouija board to suck the life out of them. So you see them all, like, aging rapidly. But then one of them grabs a ball of, it's established to be acid. He grabs it, throws it at the Ouija board. Ouija board explodes. There were 3 of our protagonists left at this point when that box explodes. We never see them again, ever, except for, like, one shot. Because then it goes back to Creon and his wife tries to escape, and, man, you can tell, like, these are the parts where, like, the budget ran out, because, like, there's, like, a little witch puppet that follows her that is, we're talking about how good the makeup in here is. That was not it. We're not counting that. That witch looked horrible.
Yeah, that was definitely, like, a cheap Halloween spirit kind of puppet.
Yeah,
like,
that was them going down to the Halloween store, like, just buy whatever you can. We need her to get attacked by something, just buy something. But she eventually escapes and runs out there, and then she sees 3 bodies on the ground, which it wasn't until I went back and watched like a making of featurette on this, so I could get all the information on, that, like, I even noticed, oh my God, that's their 3 bodies down there. So they just died. That's it. I guess our protagonist now is Creon's wife, who we've had, like, no time with, and because now this is about her running away. And then there's, like, 5 full minutes of her just being attacked by zombies. And I know you might hear that and think, like, okay, well, that's not that much. 5 full minutes of just running and screaming and being, like, groped and grabbed and having your clothes ripped off as you're, like, kicking and screaming for 5 moments, which, again, schlock has to be shocking. Is like, oh my God, am I actually about to witness what I think I'm about to witness here? Like, oh no, no. So yeah, they were definitely pushing some limits on this. And yeah, she is just like spinning. It is such an extended sequence of her trying to run and escape and get out of there and just screaming. And then the film ends with her getting into a car with someone, and the guy in the car turns out to be the Catman, who I guess kills her. And then, and then at the end of this thing, Creon emerges from this really gross, like, stretched fabric coffin we saw in the beginning of the film.
Yeah, like, it was pulsating.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Like, it's just like, there's something about just the texture of just seeing, like, what's supposed to be rock, just like, he's like, ugh. But he emerges from that with, like, one last big,
and then cuts to credits. Like,
yeah. Just, like I said, very Spirit Halloween come to life kind of a thing.
Yeah, so once again, we can't really spoil anything because not a lot of things happen, and the things that do happen have no connection.
There's no connection. That's a good way to point it. Yeah, there's no connection. It is just random shit, the movie. It's just, we want people to be attacked by monsters, have them be attacked by monsters. And I wish I could see the original version of this film, because I would love to know if there was more connections, what was the plot with all these characters. Like, I want to know, like, what the original version of this movie was. We'll get to what I'm talking about in just a second. There's one other thing that I can say before we get into, like, spoilery stuff on here. Is that... Hey, dog. Sorry, I don't even know if you guys heard that, but the dog just freaked out. It's just Spookies, buddy. It's just Spookies. It can't hurt you. So... the house that they're filming in, this is one of my favorite fun facts about this movie. The house they were filming in was the house of the very first United States Supreme Court judge. I don't remember his name, I apologize, but yeah, this house was the house of the very first Supreme Court judge. This house was going to be torn down because his descendants didn't want to keep paying to keep it up and running. But then the Spookies crew needed to film somewhere. They got this deal for cheap, but the house was dilapidated because, like I said, his family had not been taking care of it. So they had to clean the house up and get, like, all the water running in it again. Like, they had to fix the plumbing and everything in this movie. And because of that, this house is still standing and is now considered a national landmark, because when his family came back in, it was like, oh, wow, you guys fixed everything up in here. Hey, call in that historical society while this thing still looks good.
It's like, thanks for doing all the work for us.
So yes, Spookies actually has an impact on American history. That's one of my favorite fun facts about this. Do you even want to give this a score? Like, I give this a Spookies out of 10.
I guess I do the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know if you had a score.
I don't know.
Yeah, oh my gosh. This thing, it is so wild. Like, again, for everybody out there who has been listening to me, it's like, wow, you just revealed everything in the film. I promise you, the most surprising part of this is nothing in the film. That's why we're going into the spoiler part of this, because I knew all about this watching it. And knowing about, there were so many times I was watching this going, oh, it's that, it's that, it's that, it's this. I see this, I see this. But you did not. Mm-hmm. So I want to get your genuine reaction now. Having watched this film, not knowing the backstory, what did you feel about, like, the editing, about, like, how did you feel about Creon and the group of friends?
Well, it seemed like they wanted, like, whoever made this movie had, like, a bunch of ideas, but they didn't know which ones to pick, so they just, like, smashed them all together and just didn't know how to edit it together.
That definitely has that feeling.
And also because, like, it's not an expensive movie, like, maybe they spent more time, like, refurbishing the house than they did on the actual movie, that it did feel a little bit cheap, and they didn't have, like, the money to, like, film certain things.
Yeah, so, okay, but did you think that it was, like, at least a cohesive story?
I feel like it tried to be.
Okay.
Like, I feel like it feels like one of those movies where it's like, oh, it is cohesive, but you had to put the pieces together yourself, because that seems to be a common theme among a lot of horror movies we've been watching.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Although a lot of those times they tend to be more elevated, like intellectual horror. I would not call Spookies intellectual or elevated in any way. This thing is sinking into the ground. Yeah.
This is the opposite of elevated.
Yes. So, for anybody who is curious, you can watch it on Shudder, if you got Shudder, which you can man, Shudder's been the MVP this year. I subscribe to Shudder year round, but every single October, it's like, oh, this is when I make my money back. Because there'll be a month in which I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't watch anything on Shudder this month. Oh, I guess I just spent money for nothing. This is the time of the year which I'm like, oh man, gotta get all my watching out of the way here. Let's see. Let's go into the actual spoilery part of this. So, this film was made by two directors who were friends since first grade, and they loved horror. In fact, they even were extras in George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, and they drove through a blizzard for like the open call for like to be zombies and that.
Oh,
like,
wow.
They are horror fans. And they found a writer who was willing to make this movie with them, but they needed a producer. The producer they found was Michael Lee. Michael Lee was a British producer who, when the video nasties list, the films that cannot be sold in Britain because they're just too extreme and horrible, when that came out, he started buying up the rights to all of them so that he could then distribute them in Britain. I don't know how he got around the law on that, but apparently he did. And that's how he made his fortune, which I will say, good eye on him. Like, he saw the opening, he saw the audience that won. They're like, hey, I will give you credit on that. But he was the producer on this. Everyone hated his fucking guts. Like, I was listening to interviews with the people who worked with him, and they were just like, oh, I hope he burns in hell. Like, just everyone was like, he is the worst human being I've ever met. And this guy kept coming in there with ideas, and they were like, just the worst ideas you can imagine. Like, originally at one point, the name of this movie was going to be Bowel Disruptor, and they're like, what?
What does this movie have anything to do with bowels? Like,
what? Which it does have a little something to do with it, because the fart monsters were also his idea. Like I said, those were dirt monsters, and he was like, have them fart at all times. He's the one that forced them to put the fart sound effects in over those monsters. But here's the biggest thing they forced him to put in there. We've been mentioning this whole thing about Creon and about him resurrecting his wife and about how he was leading these people here and how he was manipulating them and possessing them to get their souls. Creon is not in the original film at all. No Creon, no Catman, no little boy in the beginning, no like Creon's wife. Yeah, none of that. None of that is in the original version of this film. But it's the film that Michael Lee wanted to be in here. And he kept like coming up with different ideas and all this stuff. And they shot the entirety of their original idea for this movie. And then Michael Lee came in with this idea of, you have to put in this whole thing about this wizard trying to resurrect his wife. So every single time that it cuts to Creon or the Catman or the little Jawa boy, none of that is in the original film. And they were just desperately like, the boss says we have to do this. We have to figure out some way to squeeze this into the movie. So like, remember when I mentioned that any time that someone went into a room and the door closed behind them and then cut to the Catman showing that he was the one that closed it? No, the house is just haunted and of course the door's closing on them. So Bud's like, well, Catman did. Get a shot of Catman pointing in there. The boss says we need Catman. Or anytime that they try to open the door and Catman's holding it closed.
Like, honestly, because like Creon is a wizard, you could just say, oh, he used his magic to lock them in instead of like having the Catman run around and do all this stupid shit.
There's so many shots of the Catman too that are just like one shot, and it's like, man, you were desperate to squeeze something in there. Like when the guy gets sucked into the tomb, into the grave there in the beginning, there's one quick shot of the Catman going over the grave. It's like, dude, come on, man.
Like, I feel like the Catman was like supposed to be the glue that connected the two different storylines together. They needed something to combine these two. It's like, let's have a Catman do these things. Like they're Creon's like little Igor, little henchman or some shit like that.
Yeah,
it's like,
they needed something in here. My favorite shot is there's a moment in which the punk guy is going through a door and the door like it's like split in half, but not like because like a monster attacked it. It's like one of those ones where like you can open the top half or the bottom half. And he opens the top half and then notices the bottom half is also closed. And they opens the bottom half, and then it just cuts to the little Jawa boy right there on the other side of the door, just like, and then the door closes in his face. I was like, oh my God. You were just like, we have to remind people these things are in here. Oh my God. Oh, it is. Holy cow. It is stunning. And now think back of how this film ended. Of how, okay, the three remaining characters all confront the possessed girl, throw the acid at the Ouija board, then there's a big flash of light, and then it just cuts to Creon's wife. She tries to escape, and then we see what is supposed to be the three dead bodies of the remaining people on the ground. That's clearly not what happened, because Creon's wife isn't part of this. So what happened in the original version of this movie? It is so, oh my gosh. Like, I have so many questions. And it makes me hate that back in the 80s, back really before like everything could be digitized, if your film wasn't used, there's a good chance it was destroyed. So there's no version of the original version of this film in existence anymore. Holy crap. Sorry, this, man, if you know the other channel that I have, then you know I love me some messed up behind the scenes stories of stuff. Oh man, we got a show on our other channel where I talk about the making of video games. This one makes me want to do like retrospectives on horror movies about just the messed up development schedules of them. Holy cow.
It could be called...
That's actually really good, and I'm going to bleep that.
In case someone...
I don't want anyone to take that, because that's actually really good.
Okay.
I like that, actually. If that's not being used, it has to be used. Someone has to have it use that. It's so good. Anyhow, what was I going to say? Yeah, but also, like, thinking about the editing. How, like I said, there's a moment in which they're, like, holding the Ouija board box, immediately cuts to it's half open and they're pulling it out. Like, it looks like a jump cut. It's because they had a full-ass movie, and then they had to shove in here all this Creon dumb stuff, and you're like, oh, wow, so this movie must be like an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours long. No, it's 85 minutes. It is still, like, short-ass runtime, and that means that they had to take their full movie and just cut wherever they could. So in the beginning, which is like, I don't even know who the heck these people are. I don't know, like, how many people there are here.
Honestly, they could have just cut out the entire scene with the boy running away.
Yes! That is so not important! Oh my god! Fuck! So frustrating! That doesn't matter at all! God damn it! Yeah, there's just so much stuff that they just had to like go like fucking just make space wherever you can. And like we said, we have no idea how any of these people know each other. Like they don't feel like they know each other.
Yeah.
But then as they're at the party and the camera's just moving around them, it then goes to the old guy's girlfriend, and she's sitting on the couch next to him, and she goes, "It's funny, I've known these people all my life."
And
not even and, it's also, okay, what came before that? Nobody starts a sentence with, you know, it's funny. No. Things came before that led to the, you know, it's funny. So you cut out stuff before and after that comment, but you had to shove in there something of it in order to justify the fact that everyone is still together. And there's so many other moments here that I have questions. Like, there was a moment in which they go into a room and they're looking at things and they point at a photo and says, look, that old man has the board that we were looking at. And then it cuts to a photo of Creon holding the board. That photo is never in the same shot as the people who are talking. And all I can think is, that clearly is not the original photo they were pointing at. Who is the original old man that ran this house who had the mystery board? Because, yeah, they just go, look, this old man, he's holding the board. And then it cuts to a shot of Creon in a photo holding the board. But you never see, like, any of them pick up the photo, interact with it. Every time they reference the photo, it cuts to a shot that they're not in. So all I can think is, there's some guy who got an old creepy man makeup for this photo of him holding the Ouija board, and he just is not in the movie anymore. We don't know what that original old man looked like. Who knows? It is a train wreck upon train wrecks. I love this thing. It's a terrible film. But again, like if you just have an interest in just train wrecks, this is a brilliant one. Oh man. Oh, I'm sorry, were you gonna say anything? This film's got me like hyped up.
I understand why though.
Yeah.
It's definitely like it's a lot like Troll 2, or it's a shitty movie, but like the making behind it is like so much more interesting.
Yeah, I kept comparing this to, this is the Apocalypse Now of horror films, where, okay, you can watch the film and get something out of the actual film itself, but the documentary about the making of it is so much more interesting. This thing, I was going to say it needs a documentary, but I was like, no, it has a documentary. I should point out, Spookies was not the original name of the film. We didn't even bring this up. The original name of the film was Twisted Souls. So the documentary is called Twisted Souls, The Making of Spookies, or The Unmaking of Spookies, I think it's actually called. And Michael Lee said, call it Spookies because Goonies made a lot of money.
Yeah, honestly, like, that makes so much sense because when you see, like, the opening, like, the opening title, there's, like, a skull above the eye in Spookies, and then it zooms in on that skull the same way it zooms in on the skull in the Goonies title.
I forgot about that. I didn't even think about that, yeah.
Also, like, very similar names, and I honestly checked IMDb, and yeah, like, Goonies literally came out, like, last year.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, they are definitely trying to hype this up and like go on that, ride the coattails of Goonies,
yeah,
which might explain why there was a 13-year-old kid running away.
Oh my god, that has to be it. That's the only explanation. I'm sorry, Peach. I'm sorry, buddy. I slapped my knee and it freaked you out. Sorry, buddy. Okay. Yeah, that has to be it. That's the reason why this kid is in here. That has to be the reason why.
Honestly, yeah.
That's the only explanation. My God. Fucking Spookies, everybody. Which also I should point out, this film was made in 1984, but then got released in 1986, but not in America. It got released in America in 1987, so I was like, oh man. You can just feel all the problems that were made in this thing. How many times they probably had to go back for reshoots and stuff. God. Oh my God. Yeah. So this film, and what I love is I was going to wait to reveal all of this to you in this review, but I don't remember exactly what you said, but as soon as we were done watching, you said something, like you asked a question. I don't remember what the question was. I was like, I have no way of answering this for you without going into the story of Spookies.
Like, I think I said, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that has been cut out of the movie.
That's what you said, and I was like, yes, and also added in. This is just a stunning movie. It is incredible. Yeah, this... Again, I ain't giving this a score because the film is bad, but the entertainment quality of it is still so high, but not, as I said, one of the rules with schlock is it also has to have a sense of humor, but that humor doesn't always have to be intentional. This is such non-intentional humor. Although, again, they did think that they had a sense of humor with the funny guy, and they was like, sorry, man.
Also, maybe the farts that
the farts
were trying to be humorous, but I don't know. It's like, I feel like adding farts is like a very cheap way to like add comedy.
Very, yes. And this thing, man, cheap is the word. So yeah, I think that's all I gotta say about this. Anything else that you want to add in here?
I don't think so.
What else can you say about Spookies?
Other than...
That's the thumbnail. Oh my God, Spookies, everybody. So, all right. So we did Spookies today. Yesterday we did Hatchet. And again, like I said, everybody's gonna have their own different definition of schlock. First day we did Chopping Mall. Everybody thinks Chopping Mall is schlock. But I'm sure there are people out there who don't think that, man, you guys can probably hear the dog. I don't know if she's even in. Is she in camera? She's just barely in camera. But yeah, you can hear her over there. But everybody out there has had their own definition of schlock. So everybody's going to be like, okay, well, I don't think that Hatchet counts as schlock. I don't think Spookies count as schlock. So tomorrow we're going with the undisputed, this is definitely schlock king, Toxic Avenger. Come back then, everybody. Bye.
Bye.